Right, okay, now the paneer's been made and it's sitting there. As soon as the paneer cools down a little bit, I'm actually going to put it into the fridge with the weight on and the bowl, and then that's going to help the setting process of the paneer. So now I have quite a deep pan here. I've chosen to use a deep pan so you can see what's going on as we're cooking at the different stages, because cooking Indian food is all about eye, smell, you're using your senses. When you're making a curry without a sauce, it's really best to keep the pan moving and keep adding all the fresh ingredients, because cooking this particular curry is really simple and really fast, and it's really quite nutritious. Okay, so now into here I'm going to put some mustard oil. Now this whole oh my god, my shoulder. Right, there's a whole host of goodness and health properties with using mustard, and do Google it and have a look and see what's it all about. Okay, now I'm going to put a generous amount of mustard oil. Now that's the only oil I'm going to use, and it's the only time I'm going to use the oil. So I just want to coat the bottom of the pan. There's just enough there to cook all the onions, the garlic, the ginger and everything. Okay, now this pan heats up really quickly. So here we have some coarsely chopped fresh garlic. Now this is all organic, and we leave the skins on our ginger, and because all the nutrients are in the ginger, and there's really no reason why you should peel ginger. Just chop it, blitz it, and you're ready to go. And we've got some chopped fresh garlic, and it's really good because you can prep a fair amount, put it into an airtight container or a glass jar, and just put it into the fridge, so whenever you need it, you're just grabbing it and just frying it up in your food. Now there's 2 level tablespoons of the ginger and 2 level tablespoons of the garlic, and we've also got some really lovely organic red chilies. Now I often use these when I do my cooking, and they're not overly hot, so you can be generous with the red chilies. Now I've also got some thinly sliced, de-seeded green chilies as well. Now I left the seeds in the red, but I've de-seeded the green chilies and cut those in lengthways. It's good to use some chilies for the flavour rather than just the heat. So now the mustard oil is heated up nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting in some ginger, and I'm going to put some garlic and all of the chilies. Now if you have a look, the colour is amazing. There's just so much fresh ingredients in this one frying pan, and there's got so many health properties to what we are cooking here today. Okay, now I've turned my cooker up to a high heat, so you can, if you could have smell-o-vision in here, it's the smells that are coming from this pan are absolutely amazing. There's 2 medium-sized onions gone in. With this particular dish, everything is chunky. Now we're going to be putting in some peppers as well, and they're going to be chunky as well. So it's quite a kind of a robust kind of a dish. Now I'm going to turn the cooker down a little bit because it's starting to catch at the bottom, which is fine. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to say, be very careful when you're using garlic, fresh garlic, because if you burn fresh garlic, it lets off this really bitter taste, and it's kind of near impossible to rescue your curry once that happens. So just keep it moving, and if in doubt, and you feel like your food is cooking far too quickly, doesn't matter what heat you put it on, just add a tad bit of water at the bottom. And this kind of deglazes the pan at the same time, and it also slows down the cooking process. Okay, so if you have a look here, the onions are starting to go slightly translucent. So we're just going to keep this moving around. Right, we're going to leave that now for a minute or 2. We're not looking for the onions to be brown. We're just looking for them to be translucent and a little bit softer. Kind of have a more of a sweet taste to them. Okay, you can see that it's starting to smell and look slightly different now. We're kind of losing that raw taste, raw smell of the onions and the garlic and the ginger, and that's what we're looking for. So when we say, okay, wait till the onions and the garlic and the ginger are slightly cooked, we're looking for that nice sweet smell rather than a raw smell. Okay, now into that we're going to be using some fresh tomatoes, and these are just fresh 4 large fresh tomatoes which I have diced. We're not going to use tomato tin in this because we want this really fresh, light curry, because the paneer is so light and it's got such a delicate flavour to it. We don't want to put anything that's going to overpower it. And if we used a tin tomato in here, it would have been too strong and it would have overpowered the overall taste of the curry. You want to be able to taste all elements of this curry. Okay, so we're just going to cook this down a little bit. Now, turn up the cooker a little bit. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit about the spices that we're going to be using. So here we have our curry masala, which is the red packet. And we also have some black pepper, some salt, and this is something new. It's fenugreek leaves. So just ask Kira to pop in here and have a look. Now this is what it looks like. Dried fenugreek leaves, and this is so delicious in a curry. Now it won't go into all curries, but this one it definitely goes into. And we also use it in our lamb curry as well. Okay, and the other spice I forgot to talk about is turmeric. That's what it is. Now again, turmeric has a huge amount of health properties. It's something that we use in our household as a wellness spice, as well as for cooking. You know, in India, where doctors are not readily available, or you know, most of these flavors and these ingredients and the use of these spices come from a time where they weren't readily available. If they were in a village, you simply couldn't afford them. So each family would have a whole host of spices, and we would use those to make a spice mix for our drink, to use in our food. So it's kind of nature's well-being, I find. Now into that, I'm going to go in with some turmeric. Now we don't need a lot, only half a teaspoon is brilliant. We're also going to go in with some of our masala mix. Again, half a teaspoon is plenty, a little bit goes a long way. We're also going to go in with some salt, just a little bit over half a teaspoon, and give it a mix. What we don't want to do is, while we're adding these spices, they're starting to burn underneath. Because again, to get rid of a taste in a curry where there's burnt spices in it is very, very difficult. Take the pan off the heat while you add the spices. Or a little trick I like to use is I make a little like a cushion here, and then I'll add the spices onto all of that, kind of the onions and the garlic and everything, because then it's got more of a distance between the hot pan and there's less of a chance of burning. Now I'm also going to use some fenugreek leaves, just half a teaspoon. But to use these, if you have a look here, is we're going to put them in our hand, and we're just going to roll them in our hand before we put them in there. Now the black pepper I'm going to leave until the end. At this stage also I'm going to add some spinach. Now traditionally when we make chili paneer we don't use spinach, but my son, he loves spinach, and it's at the moment it's just another way of adding goodness to our food. So I've got some frozen spinach, and give it a mix. Now as the spinach cooks down, it's going to release some water, which we're going to then add, which is going to aid the cooking process of the onions and everything else that's in it. But we're also going to add some peppers in that as well. Now we're piling high the veg in this. And they all complement each other so deliciously. The sweetness from the peppers, the sweetness from the onion, and the mildness of the spinach is just incredible. Okay, so I'm going to just put the lid onto this now. Put the lid on. and let it just sit for a few minutes, but keep an eye on it, keep checking on it, and make sure it's not hitting the bottom of the pan. Right, okay, let's take the lid off and give this a quick mix. And we're just going to put the lid back on and just let that cook for a little bit longer and just let it steam away. I've just taken the lid off and you can just see the vibrancy of colours here. It's just crazy. So you can imagine what this infusion of flavour is like with the masala and the turmeric, the fenugreek, the spinach. It's all just absolutely divine. Okay, now this has taken us about 20 minutes to cook. So we should be grabbing our paneer from the fridge in a minute. So after about 10 minutes of it sitting out and the temperature cooled down in the paneer and it was safe to put in the fridge, I then transferred it into a plate, still with the weight on, and I put it in the fridge. So we'll be getting that out in a second, the liquid. So while that is cooking, I'm just going to show you what the paneer looks like. So that's what the paneer looks like. Now that's 20 minutes in the fridge after we made it. Now I'm going to cut this, turn it on the other way around, and I'm just going to cut this into large cubes. There we go, that's what we're looking at. Still a spongy texture. So that means it's just going to soak up all of the flavours. And I'm going to place this just into the curry. Now we don't want to overcook this. Like I said before, we're looking at just tossing this in few seconds in the frying pan just to pick up the flavours of our curry, and then we're done. Because you can actually use this just raw the way it is without even cooking it any further. But what's also really nice is when you make homemade fresh paneer and you put it, coat it in some panko breadcrumbs, and then you shallow fry it. So delicious when you just gently shallow fry it. Okay, so now I've just tossed this paneer in, and I'm going to just put the lid onto this, just for a few seconds with the cooker off. Just going to put the lid on and just leave it on for a few seconds. I'm just going to put that aside. The cooker's turned off. Now what can we have this with? We can have it with traditional rice, or we can even have it with some tortillas, where you fill the tortilla and you roll it up, or you can even have it with Indian flatbread, some chapatis or paratha. But I like it with something a little different. Brown bread. Now just to add to the flavour, I'm going to add some Indian pickle. It's important that when you are using any kind of a pickle, do not use a spoon that's wet or has any residue of food on it, because once that spoon goes into the pickle, it will, the pickle will start going off. Okay, so we'll put that on that side and that on that side. Now that's just whole grain brown bread. Now you can use red peppers, green peppers in this, but I absolutely love the flavours of the yellow peppers with the paneer and the spinach. Things off. It wouldn't be me if I didn't put any kind of a yogurt or a creme fraiche. Grab the pepper, little sprinkle, and there we have it. We're gonna just add our own twist on it and just have it with whole wheat granary bread on toast. And again, subscribe to our channel, because that allows you to press the notification button and you'll be notified every time we do a new video. Peppers. Oh my goodness, but it's so good. You got the taste of the fresh ginger humming through, all the spices, and then you've got the creaminess of the paneer and the creme fraiche, and then you've got that little kick with the pickle as well, which is absolutely divine. Give it a go.